Good morning, teachers, and hello, Doc Flores, and welcome to MAED212, Design and Evaluation of Instructional Media. Before we proceed to our discussion, let me introduce to you the online classroom rules. First, turn on your camera or webcam. Turn on your camera or webcam. Second, only turn on your microphone if you are going to respond to or ask the question. Third, avoid and do not be a distraction to others. Avoid and do not be a distraction to others. Lastly, maintain respect in both speaking, writing, and appearance. Now, let me introduce to you the reporters coming from the group 2. For instructional design, yours truly, Shan Batitang. For user experience design and design thinking, we have Ma'am Cheryl B. Batukan. For learning experience design and learning engineering, we have Ma'am Zenaida Kunor. For current demands in learning design, we have Ma'am Michelle Angelica T. Guluran. For instructional design process, we have Ma'am Charmy Pia. Lastly, for the systematic design, we have Ma'am Annabelle H. Tan. Now, let's proceed to the discussion. First topic, learning design. Yours truly, Shan Batitang. The objectives of learning design. At the end of the discussion, the MAED students will be able to 1. Define learning design, instructional design, and instructional system design. Second, identify the process of instructional design and instructional system design. Third, appreciate the importance of instructional design in planning a lesson or curricula. Learning design is the name of the professional practice that in the views of many education, training, learning, and development professionals, it is a repetition in the evolution of the craft dedicated to creating, producing, evaluating, and improving resources and experiences that help people and organizations learn more and perform better. Learning design consists of combination of several contemporary design traditions actively used within current teaching, learning, training, and development professions. As learning designers, we have profound opportunities to develop conditions, strategies, resources, tools, and platforms that will keep learners engaged and inspired. We can help people make new connections and meanings, spark new interests, and develop new abilities so that new learning will occur. In order to understand what learning design is, it is helpful to understand its precedents and how they are related to each other. In this chapter, I will describe several of the most notable precedents. First, we have the instructional design process. The most popular learning design's earlier tradition is the instructional design, or the ID. Instructional design is a foundational part of the profession dedicated to systematically improving the learning and performance outcomes of individuals. In short, the process by which learning products and experiences are designed, developed, and delivered. It is also instructional design describe the practice of creating lessons and courses. So following are the steps designers take when designing lessons or courses. First, assessing content for the course or what needs to be covered. Second, assessing the learners. Who is taking this course? What will they need to know and do? How will you know if they have accomplished those things? Third, creating a design document. What needs to happen for this course to become real? Fourth, asking what needs to be developed. Who is going to produce it? How much will it cost? Fifth, implementing the design. What is needed for the lesson, for the students, and for the course to be completed. And number six, evaluating the design. Did the lessons work? How do you know? And how could it be better? At the end of this process, the designer would end up with a design document. This serves as a specification to guide the construction of a course. Design documents are a great way to review how you solve your design challenges, what worked and what didn't work. They are important instruments for formative review and essential for summative review. A design document also forms the basis for a professional portfolio that will serve as evidence of your work over time. It is your record of how you communicated your plans for what needed to get done, both to yourself and to your stakeholders. Let's proceed to instructional system design. Instructional system design, or ISD, is used for assessing and developing courses and solutions needed for formal training. The operative word here is systematic, as ISD is based on a framework and systems approach to designing courses for training and learning delivery. Given that so many learning experiences transcend instruction and must address bigger contextual consideration, sometimes the activities associated with this practice are described more broadly and typically divide the instruction design process into the 5 phases. We have analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. That is often referred to as ADI. ADI is a generic step-by-step framework used by instructional trainers, instructional developers, and instructional designers. ISD calls for the following. 1. Analysis of needs and objectives. The analysis phase involves gathering information, what is needed, especially in the part of the learners. Also, during this phase, you must define the problem, identify the source of the problem, and determine possible solution. Next is the design phase, where session structure, resources, and learning objectives are identified. This is the blueprinting phase, where the instructional designers create the blueprint for the project with all the necessary components. Instructional designers will identify the objectives, the construct course content, and finalize the design plan. Development phase, when content is produced and completed. In this phase, a non-designer would be able to see results. Everything from design will now be visible as a deliverable. The purpose of this phase is to generate the lesson plans and lesson materials. During this phase, you will develop the instruction, all media that will be used in the instruction, and any supporting documentation. For the implementation phase, training content is prepared and delivered. The implementation phase refers to the actual delivery of the instruction, whether it's classroom-based, lab-based, or computer-based. The purpose of this phase is the effective and efficient delivery of instruction. This phase must promote the students' understanding of material, support the students' mastery of objectives, and ensure the students' transfer of knowledge from the instructional setting to the child. And lastly, for the evaluation phase, feedback on the effectiveness of the instructional design of the lesson. This phase measures the effectiveness and efficiency on the instruction. There are two parts of the evaluation phase, the formative and summative. The formative evaluation is during the instruction, but the summative evaluation is at the very end. The purpose of the summative test is to determine if the training reaches the desired outcome and to identify any points that need to be fixed. So we have here an example of the ADDI model lesson plan. Okay, standards, 6th grade English language. History, students will examine the sentence structure, lightening the role of each structure to enhance such idea to students. Identify sentence structure. 1, identify through context the subject. Number 2, identifying through context the predicate. First, for the analyze. Goal, it's part of their English language aim structure, and since subjects and predicates is essential as crucial base for English language, students will seek to know them both in order to have better sentence structure, knowing how the complete sentence is constructed correctly. For the objectives, students will recognize the structure of complete sentence. Students will also be able to know the role of subject. For the audience, this project is being conducted with a 6th grade middle school English language class at Al-Mahdi High School in Beirut, Lebanon. The class size is normal and contains 25 students. They are separated sexes, which means males and females are apart. Most of the students are of average intelligence, although there are handfuls that are exceptionally bright. The audience can also be anyone interested to acquire English language sentence structure, grammar online, since this lesson plan and the PowerPoint presentation will be monitored on the blog that will be mentioned later on. Also, the physical environment. This class will be conducted in the computer lab at Al-Mahdi schools. The period lasts 40 minutes. The lab has 25 computers, which means that each computer will be occupied. There are 3 computers in a row on each side, separated by an aisle in the middle of the room. The computers are in the form of U-shape, which allow the teachers to pass among the students, freely taking all the questions and requirements. For the pre-existing knowledge, there is certain amount of knowledge that the students or seekers will have to already know in order to complete this plan. Some of the knowledge was gained through lessons earlier in the year in anticipation of this culminating project. Other knowledge was gained in previous years or throughout of classroom exposures to computers. The distance learners should have intermediate levels in English language to understand all the words and definitions used in the project. We have here the pre-existing knowledge includes how to turn on the computer and access the internet, how to get onto my blog online, or the file on laptop web page and access the online research project, how to send an email, knowledge of plagiarism, and knowledge and use of the word processing software. Let's now proceed in the design phase. For the teaching style, once the pre-existing knowledge is in place, this project is a self-directed one. The students have been given the skeleton of the project in the form of the outline and the PowerPoint presentation. So this lesson plan follows the constructivist model by allowing for discussion about the facts that they have found by working in close proximity with other students, helping each other with the development of the objectives gained, and clarifying items on the outline among themselves. For instructional content, enduring understanding. So as part of the grade 6 social studies standard, students are required to study the complete sentence structure, role of subject, role of predicate. In order to understand these things, students must read these plans, go through the PowerPoint presentation done, do the exercise, send email to me to review and correct. For technology integration, so user interface, this project is conducted using a PowerPoint presentation and blog created by myself. Included on this blog are outline of the plan, pictures, video, exercise that should be sent by email by me, that they will need to complete this project. So for the assessment, each student will be assessed on 2 fronts. Write the exercise correctly, send it email to me, and will be assessed according to the plan done by me. Let's proceed for the development phase. Instructional courseware. This includes all the materials that are necessary for the students to successfully complete this research project. All are available online as part of the Internet Research blog or file. We have World file, PowerPoint presentation, blog to be checked, email to send the exercise that will be assessed by the teacher, rubric for final assessment. So we have here the procedures. Let's proceed to the implementation phase. So before the students come into the lab to begin this project, the instructor needs to make sure that all the computers are turned on and can access the internet. So during this part of the ADDIE model, the students conduct their research using the linked websites, blogs, or slide share by the program SharePoint. Then students able to self-direct can work independently. Those needing extra guidance will be able to get that from myself before or after the class. Each student will continue to work at their own pace until they have obtained all information required on the plan. For the evaluation, there are 2 parts that need to be taken into account in this portion of the ADDIE model. The first is to evaluate the students' performance and determine if they were able to meet the goals and objectives stated earlier. The second is to evaluate the lesson to determine how well the process worked and what may need to be improved. For the students, how well did the students take the information from the blog, file, Word, PowerPoint, and distill it into an exercise that will be sent to me by email. By observing them during their work in your exercise, how well were they able to read the material and pick out the important information? For the instructor, the performance of the students is an important indicator of how well all facets of the ADDIE model work. Was the pre-existing knowledge of the students sufficient to complete this project, or is more preparatory work necessary? Were there issues with the online design that made it difficult for some students to work with? Was the instructional coursework clear and easily understood? Were the procedures in the correct order so that lesson flowed smoothly from one aspect to the next? So there are various instructional system design, or ISD, models available for instructional designers. It is worth having knowledge of each of them and understanding each framework's advantages and disadvantages. Also, look into the 5 basic principles of instructional system design to understand which model to adapt based on which best fit your learning objectives and broader organizational goals. So if you want to learn more, you can use this reference. That's all. Thank you for listening.